Hi everyone. Just a little update. I'm just doing some testing of some of this video footage, and there's a topic that I actually wanted to engage you with. It's actually called Chronicling the Supremacy of Whiteness Consciousness. And it's just really interesting to see and hear a lot of questions around what exactly is this equity thing, what is diversity, how do we actually address tokenism, how do we actually level the playing field for everyone. And it was interesting because yesterday actually I was in a particular office, and I was just, I shouldn't say an office, but a social place. And it was a place where people go to try and find out more about their career development and how to sort of find out what to do to enrich whatever interests they have. And it was really interesting to see a lot of processes of racialization. So one of the things that I'm going to do is just document some of these experiences and make this whole process very educational, because one of the things that I just don't understand is what they call the special treatment. If we're actually all on the same page, then why do we actually have this differential treatment, which is what I conceptualize as special treatment? And so I am into making these discussions very educational and also purposeful in a way where you can actually collaborate with people on different types of problem-solving issues. And it was really interesting. Like, I went to this unemployment office actually, and it was in a demographic with a lot of killings, very high poverty, a lot of racialization, a lot of white supremacy. And so I just walked into this office, and it was really interesting. This person, I walked in, and diversity was at the front, right? And then I went to another place. I was redirected to somewhere else, and the intellectual stuff was actually white supremacy. So then I'm sitting there with this white supremacy, and I'm saying to myself, this is very interesting. The first question that comes out of this person's mouth is, what kind of social benefit are you on? So I thought that was a really interesting way to engage with somebody who may be interested in sort of developing their career. So what I had answered was, I said, actually my background is, and then 2 academic fields. And this person just looked at me, and you know, it was really interesting to sort of observe things and you know, sort of process this kind of interaction. Now, one of the things that I'm going to do is, you know, I'll be posting all kinds of videos about different things, but I also want to make this very educational. And one of the things that I've noticed is that being in a demographic such as Ontario, Canada, there's a lot of problems around equality, there's a lot of problems around poverty, lots of killings, and you see a lot of stuff that's written in what they call the Canada Constitution that's being breached in just what we see in social infrastructure. And social infrastructure manifests in so many different ways. So I will be actually chronicling some of these experiences, and what was really interesting was that I really wish that I had some footage on me where I was able to wire up myself and do like undercover stuff to show you viewers what a person like myself goes through in just trying to you know, develop our gifts, develop our curiosity. And what was really interesting about this particular unemployment office, that's what it is termed, is how it's also connected to a global infrastructure that is based on the exploitation of human capital, the exploitation of labor, and relegating people to precarious employment. And these are a lot of opportunities that are related to a lot of indignities. And I thought that was very interesting because that was also a public infrastructure. And I'm not one to promote unbalanced, but I do believe in private and public balance. But what I'm seeing is that there's just a lot of what seems to be people that are misdirected in their interests um, when you go into certain places. And the customer service is just terrible, horrible out here. And, you know, the customer service skill is throughout an organization, right? So, you know, the white male CEO also has to have good customer service skills. The person at the bottom, diversity, why are we just seeing training in these very routine, low-paid, precarious employment positions that are one specific color, right? And customer service also gets you to question these kinds of things. I went into this place. It was very interesting. So I thought, it'd be interesting to write a little piece about chronicling the supremacy of whiteness consciousness, so that people like myself can really see, and not only like myself, but people can actually see, like, what is this thing? What do people mean by this, right? And there was a situation where there was a person who was a male from India, looked like a person from India, was at this light skin that could pass for white or whatever, and a white female was advising him of her connections to stylists so that they can teach him how to dress properly. This is the kind of thing that you get in an unemployment office. What if that man wants to do whatever he wants to do? And he's coming from a particular cultural demographic, right? Why can't that person actually respect the culture? So there's a lot of these different dynamics, and I was just reflecting on this with some friends, and I was like, wow, this is just really strange, right? But I said, how else are we supposed to know as academics and practitioners and other things we do? How are we actually supposed to know what the reality is if we actually don't live the reality? And one part of living the reality is to also get into these places, just see how people operate. We read a lot of discourses related to inequality and justice, but we're still dealing with poverty, right? And there's a lot of university educated people in the world. So to the university educated world, why are we not doing any better? And if you actually see some of this footage, one of the questions that I have is, what kind of university education would teach people to be like this? We see here in Ontario, Canada, we see, like, for example, the hospitals operating as residential school centers. You see, like, practicing in certain things, so-called Western medicine, that is another manifestation of, for example, the residential school nurse. If you don't know what residential schools are, then you know what, something is wrong with the education system. So I like to make things educational, and I just wanted to share that thought with you. So I'm interested to hear, how exactly do you understand the consciousness of the supremacy of whiteness? And please share your thoughts, and I'll do my best to respond. I know I've been sort of behind on some comments or whatever, but I'd like to hear your thoughts, okay? And I hope everyone is well, and have a great one.